It's actually not terribly hard to start a union. Look, if you are in a job that you think needs a union, follow this step. Follow this step. Follow these steps and start a union. It's that simple. If you have a buddy who's in a job and they complain about all the time, show them this. Link is in the description. It is how to start a union. This is provided by the government. Worker.gov. Again, link is in the description. It's a pretty simple guide. I've seen a lot of guides about how to start a union, and they're like, talk with your coworkers. Make sure you're prepared. And they don't tell you what to say to your coworkers, and they don't tell you how to prepare. They're like, oh, well, we'll tell you how to prepare. Start by making a checklist. A checklist of what? No, this is the specific things. To start the process, you must file an election petition with your local NLRB office. Along with the petition, you will need to show that at least 30% of the employees support your election petition, which is usually done with authorization cards or a petition signed by your coworkers. So again, the election petition is not the election. The election petition is the petition to have an election. You need to get 30% of your coworkers to agree with you that a union is needed. To start the process, you must file an election petition. Click on that link for the election petition. And the National Labor Relations Board office is who you send it to. So it's that simple. Count the number of employees in the place you work. Multiply it by 0.3. Frankerbell's going to have to check my math here. Multiply it by 0.3, and that's the number of folks that you need to sign that election petition so you can have an election. Once you're going to have an election, then you start going to all your coworkers. So that first group, that's the group of people you can trust. You remember that skit we did in the beginning where the person was giving the other coworker a real hard look? Yeah. You got to do some espionage because your company will most likely try to stop the union from existing. Why is that? Because they want you driving around without air conditioning. They want you standing in a bread line on Saturday because they would rather have the money that you would have used to shop for groceries to pay for their driving a Porsche instead of a gross Corvette. Ugh, I'm driving a Corvette from 2015 like some kind of a gross poor person. I want a Porsche. And in order to get that, I need to have at least 20 of my employees on food stamps. That's why they're going to stop you or try to stop you from forming a union. So how do you do this? You go to the 30% of your coworkers that you trust the most, that you think are the most ride or die, that are not going to screw you over by telling the boss, by snitching on you. Once you get them and you file this with the National Labor Relations Board, then you have your union vote. Here's how it works. An NLRB agent will then make sure that an election in your particular work group is appropriate and take steps to set the time, date, and place of a secret ballot election. This is when you go between that day, when they tell you when it's going to be, and when you get the date. That's when you go around talking to all of your coworkers about the benefits of a union. It is illegal for your boss to stop you from doing this. That's illegal. But it's also perfectly legal for your boss to hire professional scumbags to come into your place of business and try to convince all your coworkers that unions are bad for them. Be prepared for some to do that. And understand that that's a sign that your boss is afraid of you. And smile inside, knowing that you made their day worse by refusing to let them steal from you and your coworkers. In other words, you're Robin Hood. An NLRB agent will then make sure that the election, blah, 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 blah. Elections may be in person, by mail, or a combination of both. If the union receives a majority of the votes cast at the election, the NLRB, that's 51%, folks, the NLRB will certify the unions as your exclusive collective bargaining representative. Boom. In addition to the NLRB conducted elections, federal law provides employees a second path to choose a representative. You may persuade an employer to voluntarily recognize a union after showing majority support by signed authorization cards or other means. These agreements are made outside the NLRB process. However, after voluntary recognition, the employer and or the union may notify the NLRB regional office that voluntary recognition has been granted. Here's the thing. I am almost of the belief that the way a lady or a gentleman would handle this is to give their boss the option of being a lady or a gentleman about it as well, and saying, yes, of course, we recognize your bargaining power, by all means. However, the very fact that you feel it is necessary to start a union should, or in my opinion, it eliminates their right, your boss's right, to be offended that you didn't ask them first, because they already had an opportunity. How about this? They could have gone to you and asked you, do you want to have a union represent you? The fact that you're out there doing this extra work in your free time, I think, negates, it forfeits any right they had to chances to act decently. But that said, if you want to be a mensch, that's an option too. But let's recap this. All you need to start a union, you need 30% of your coworkers, just 30%, to agree in writing, sign a petition. It's that simple, literally signing a piece of paper, to agree that a union is needed. You send that to the National Labor Relations Board. The link is in the link in the description. Highlighted blue, you can't miss it. After that, you hold a vote. You need 51% of your coworkers to agree that a union is needed. You want to sell them on it? A union means more money, more vacation days, less hours for what you do make. It could mean a better coffee machine in the office. It could mean all sorts of things, but generally speaking, it means better working conditions at your job. And by the way, if you don't like the union, well, hell, you can vote to dissolve the thing. But I'll tell you, wage increases in the United States of America can be charted extraordinarily accurately along with union participation. Wages for the workers go up when unions are present. They go down when they are not. At the end of the day, if you want to make more money, get a union. Now you know how to start a union. Maybe you'll use that in your own place of business. In which case, mazel tov. But also, now you know how to get unions started. You know, if you're a small business owner and you want customers in your town to have more money to spend at your place of business, go around telling people how to start unions. That is the kind of investment in your time that will pay off in 2-3 years. Regular folks having more spending money is good for your community. Their bosses, they aren't people. Their bosses aren't in your community spending money. They're not functionally, for your purposes as a business owner, they're non-entities, their bosses. They're just somewhere these people's time and energy goes, and the bosses are what suck all that up. So if you're a small business owner, go around your community. Show people how to start unions. And if you're a small business owner with brass who treats your employees well, ask them if they would like a union. Offer them the opportunity to form one. Show them how to form it. Understand that you will be buying your employees' loyalty for all time if you do that. And you will also be churning out a better class of worker in the United States who will go on when they inevitably in this current era, go on to other places. They will have the knowledge of how and why these things are valuable. You will be making a more healthy country. We do not need to rely solely on politicians and police to protect us. We should have the expectation that they will do their jobs and protect us when called to do so. But we should not rely solely on them. We can take power for ourselves. One way to do that, start a union.